Jean-Claude Van Damme, revered as a titan of action and martial arts cinema, stands among the select few deemed living legends in the industry. Despite his celebrated status, the facade of perfection surrounding him shattered to reveal a life marred by tragedy and turmoil. From tumultuous love affairs to scandals involving his son, Jean-Claude's journey has been fraught with adversity. Not yet, the relentless grip of addiction has cast a shadow over his once glamorous existence. This video will help you explore the negative milestones in Jean-Claude's life. We are so used to the success of Jean-Claude Van Damme that we forget that there was a time when his career plummeted. In contrast to contemporaries like Tom Hanks with Forrest Gump, Sandra Bullock with Speed, and Jim Carrey with The Mask, who continued to enjoy substantial popularity and commercial success post-1994, Van Damme's trajectory took a different turn. Despite his momentous accomplishment with Time Cop, his star power seemed to dwindle rapidly thereafter. One pivotal factor contributing to Van Damme's descent from the heights of Hollywood was a crucial misstep in gauging his own clout and market value. Following the triumph of Time Cop, Van Damme found himself presented with a lucrative opportunity, a 3-movie deal that promised an astonishing $12 million per film. However, it was a time when Jim Carrey was making headlines as the first actor to secure a $20 million paycheck for his roles. In a move that would prove detrimental to his career, Van Damme, perhaps buoyed by his recent success, opted to reject the initial $12 million offer and instead demanded parity with Carrey's earnings. This audacious maneuver backfired spectacularly as the studio promptly withdrew the 3-movie offer. Van Damme's insistence on playing hardball with Hollywood's established payment structures not only cost him a lucrative deal, but also led to what he later described as being placed on a Hollywood blacklist. Reflecting on his decision in a 2012 interview with The Guardian, Van Damme candidly admitted to his folly, acknowledging that his attempt to challenge the system was misguided and ultimately detrimental to his career aspirations. Jim Carrey was being paid a fortune, and I wanted to play with the system, he lamented. Like an idiot, ridiculous. In 2010, Sylvester Stallone orchestrated a triumphant return to the old-school action genre with his directorial effort, The Expendables. The film not only served as a thrilling spectacle for action enthusiasts, but also marked the inception of a blockbuster franchise. One of the defining features of The Expendables was its nostalgic nod to the action heroes of yesteryears, providing a platform for iconic stars like Dolph Lundgren and Mickey Rourke to reclaim the spotlight. However, amidst the ensemble cast of seasoned action veterans, one notable absence stood out: Jean-Claude Van Damme. Despite Stallone's personal invitation to join the star-studded cast, Van Damme opted to decline the opportunity. His absence from the film sparked speculation and raised questions among fans and industry insiders alike. Van Damme later cited commitments to his own project, The Eagle's Path, as the primary reason for his decision to forego a role in The Expendables. However, Stallone offered a differing perspective, asserting that Van Damme objected to a particular scene in which his character would be depicted losing a fight to Jet Li's character. Stallone's claim provoked a vehement response from Van Damme, who vehemently dismissed it as untrue, expressing his frustration in colorful language. Despite this initial disagreement, both Stallone and Van Damme managed to set aside any potential animosity. Stallone, recognizing Van Damme's enduring appeal and action star pedigree, ultimately found a suitable role for him in the sequel, The Expendables 2. This reconciliation not only demonstrated the mutual respect between the two action icons, but also highlighted Stallone's willingness to accommodate Van Damme within the franchise. You may have heard about Jean-Claude Van Damme's love story, but it's actually more complicated than you know. In 1980, Van Damme embarked on his journey into matrimony by tying the knot with Maria Rodriguez. However, their union was short-lived, ending in divorce, which paved the way for his next chapter in romance. He then entered into a marriage with Cynthia Durdian, but like the characters in his movies facing adversaries, their relationship too succumbed to the strains, leading to another divorce. Undeterred by the setbacks, Van Damme's quest for love led him back to Cynthia Durdian once more, showcasing a resilience reminiscent of his on-screen persona. However, their reunion was not destined to endure, and eventually, the couple parted ways again. Van Damme's romantic odyssey took a new turn when he found love with professional bodybuilder Gladys Portugues. Their relationship blossomed, culminating in marriage, and they welcomed 2 children into their lives. Despite their initial happiness, their union encountered its share of challenges, ultimately resulting in separation in 1992. Following his split from Portugues, Van Damme embarked on a whirlwind romance with Darcy LaPierre, whom he wed shortly after their encounter. However, their marriage encountered turbulence, exacerbated by Van Damme's dalliance with pop sensation Kylie Minogue, his co-star in the 1994 film Street Fighter. Amidst the turmoil, Van Damme's relationship with LaPierre crumbled, leading him back into the arms of Gladys Portugues, the woman with whom he shared his longest-lasting bond. Their reunion signaled a newfound stability in Van Damme's romantic life, a departure from the turbulence that had characterized his previous relationships. Despite facing challenges, including Portuguese filing for divorce in 2015, Van Damme and Portuguese demonstrated a resilience akin to the protagonists in his films, overcoming obstacles and reconciling once more. Their enduring marriage, which has spanned from 1999 until the present, serves as a testament to their enduring commitment and love for each other. Beside, the incident involving Jean-Claude Van Damme's son, Nicholas Van Varenberg, in September 2017 sent shockwaves through both the Van Damme family and the public, shedding light on a dark chapter that unfolded far from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. Van Varenberg's arrest in Tempe, Arizona, for allegedly holding his roommate at knife point marked a stark departure from the controlled violence typically associated with his father's on-screen persona. The chain of events leading to Van Varenberg's arrest began with a seemingly minor incident. An individual was caught on surveillance video punching an elevator wall at the University House apartment complex, situated near Arizona State University. However, what initially appeared to be a routine disturbance escalated into a harrowing ordeal as law enforcement officers followed the trail of blood from the elevator to Van Varenberg's 10th-floor apartment. Upon arriving at the scene, police were confronted with a tense standoff, during which Van Varenberg reportedly held his roommate at knife point for a duration of 2 hours. The gravity of the situation underscored the severity of the altercation and raised concerns about Van Varenberg's mental state and propensity for violence. Following his arrest, Van Varenberg faced a series of legal repercussions, including criminal charges stemming from the standoff. Despite posting bail amounting to $10,000, he found himself entangled in a legal battle that threatened to tarnish both his reputation and his family's legacy. Ultimately, Van Varenberg opted to plead guilty to disorderly conduct, a decision that resulted in an 18-month probationary sentence. The resolution of the case offered a semblance of closure, yet the incident served as a sobering reminder of the challenges faced by individuals grappling with personal struggles and the consequences of their actions. In addition to Jean-Claude Van Damme's son, he also had some problems with his own daughter. Bianca Van Damme, the daughter of action icon Jean-Claude Van Damme, is a force to be reckoned with, a combination of grace, beauty, and formidable martial arts prowess. Despite her striking appearance characterized by her brown locks and full model-esque lips, Bianca is not just another face in the crowd. Beneath her exterior lies an exceptional martial artist with a passion for breaking stereotypes and empowering others. Bianca's journey into the world of martial arts was not one she initially embraced willingly. At the tender age of 7, her bodybuilder mother, recognizing the importance of self-discipline, insisted that Bianca delve into the realm of martial arts, a decision met with resistance from the young girl whose interests leaned towards ballet and speed skating. However, fate had other plans, as an injury redirected her path toward the world of combat sports. Despite her initial reluctance, Bianca wholeheartedly embraced martial arts, recognizing its transformative potential, both physically and mentally. Through dedication and perseverance, she honed her skills, eventually becoming a formidable martial artist in her own right. Bianca's philosophy on femininity and strength is a testament to her multifaceted nature. She embodies the notion that femininity and physical prowess are not mutually exclusive, advocating for a balance between grace and power. As she eloquently puts it, "I want to show little girls and little boys that you can be physical and feminine, that you can cross your legs at the dinner table and then kick ass in a nice, feminine way." Her talent and dedication to her craft led to opportunities to work alongside her father, Jean-Claude Van Damme, in the action-packed world of cinema. Bianca made her debut alongside her father in 2008's The Shepherd Border Patrol and went on to feature in an impressive lineup of films, collaborating with her father on a total of 7 projects. Through these experiences, she continued to refine her skills, cementing her status as a rising star in the realm of action cinema. Bianca Van Damme began under the surname Van Varenberg, a deliberate choice aimed at carving out her own identity, separate from the towering legacy of her famous father, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Despite her lineage, Bianca was determined to make her mark in the entertainment industry on her own terms, free from the weight of her father's illustrious reputation. However, as Bianca's career progressed and her confidence in her abilities grew, she eventually embraced her family name, proudly assuming the mantle of Van Damme. This decision symbolized a coming-of-age moment for Bianca, signifying her acceptance of her heritage and her determination to forge her own path while honoring her father's legacy. While Bianca may not have pursued professional competition in martial arts, as her father did before transitioning into acting, she has dedicated herself to the craft of combat sports for nearly 2 decades. Her commitment to training has shaped her into a formidable martial artist, endowed with the same speed, agility, and prowess that characterized her father's iconic fighting style. Despite her undeniable talent and skill, Bianca has had to contend with the pervasive shadow of her father's fame, often facing preconceived notions and underestimation from others within the industry. Yet, rather than allowing these challenges to deter her, Bianca has channeled them into a potent source of motivation, fueling her determination to prove herself on her own merit. The "everybody underestimates me" chip on Bianca's shoulder serves as a driving force behind her relentless pursuit of success in Hollywood. With each audacious kick and flawless performance, she defies expectations and shatters stereotypes, emerging as a force to be reckoned with in her own right. An incident happened in Van Damme's life that made him extremely regretful. In an interview on the popular Australian morning show Sunrise, Van Damme's demeanor shifted from eager promotion to palpable exasperation as he fielded questions that he had grown weary of answering over the years. Connecting via video link from Bangkok, Van Damme found himself confronted with the same inquiries that had dogged him throughout his career, particularly regarding his relationship with Kylie Minogue. Despite his efforts to maintain composure, Van Damme's frustration became evident as he responded, "Yes, I like Kylie. I like everybody." It was clear that he yearned for a more meaningful interaction with his audience, expressing his desire to engage in natural conversation rather than rehashing tired topics. However, as the interview progressed, Van Damme's patience wore thin. Sensing the repetition of familiar questions, he abruptly declared, "Sorry, guys, I cannot do this anymore." His voice tinged with irritation, he voiced his discontent with the monotony of the inquiries directed at him by the press over the past quarter-century. Asserting his desire for a fresh approach to engaging with his audience, He emphasized his age, stating, "I'm 55 years old." With a decisive gesture, Van Damme removed his microphone and abruptly terminated the link-up, leaving the interview in a flurry of frustration. As he departed, he unleashed a string of profanities directed at the situation and, by extension, Australia. A visceral outpouring of pent-up frustration and weariness. In 2017, Jean-Claude Van Damme found himself at the center of controversy following his appearance in an advertisement for the Australian car services company Ultra-Tune. While the intention may have been to create a memorable and entertaining commercial, the execution sparked widespread criticism and debate. The ad, which aired on television screens across Australia, featured a scenario fraught with tension and danger. Two women, dressed in scanty attire, find themselves stranded with a flat tire in a dimly lit area at night. As they nervously await assistance, a menacing gang of armed street thugs approaches, instilling fear and apprehension in both the women and the viewer. It seems as though a perilous encounter is inevitable until Jean-Claude Van Damme swoops in to save the day. In a classic action movie twist, Van Damme's appearance heralds a reversal of fortune for the beleaguered women. Instead of being victims, they find themselves rescued by the legendary Muscles from Brussels himself. However, the unexpected denouement of the advertisement takes a comedic turn when the would-be assailants express their delight at encountering the famous action star. While the advertisement may have been intended as a light-hearted spoof on action movie tropes, many viewers found its portrayal of gender dynamics and violence troubling. The depiction of two vulnerable women in distress, reliant on a male savior to extricate them from a potentially dangerous situation, struck a nerve with audiences. Critics argued that the ad perpetuated harmful stereotypes and normalized predatory behavior, reinforcing outdated notions of masculinity and female vulnerability. The backlash against the Ultra-Tune commercial was swift and vehement. The Ad Standards Bureau of Australia, tasked with assessing complaints about advertisements, received a barrage of feedback condemning the ad's content. Viewers expressed concern over the normalization of predatory behavior and the perpetuation of gender stereotypes, arguing that such depictions could have far-reaching consequences in shaping societal attitudes towards violence against women. In late 2016, Amazon Prime shook up the entertainment landscape by unveiling its annual slate of pilots for potential TV series, one of which featured none other than Jean-Claude Van Damme himself. However, what caught audiences by surprise was the genre of the show. It wasn't an action-packed thriller or a martial arts extravaganza. Instead, Van Damme embraced self-parody and comedic flair in Jean-Claude Van Johnson. In this bold departure from his usual roles, Van Damme embraced his own celebrity persona, portraying a fictionalized version of himself, Jean-Claude Van Johnson. The series followed the exploits of a washed-up action star who, in a twist of fate, reveals himself to be a covert operative operating under the guise of his Hollywood career. Retired from the limelight, Van Johnson reimagines himself as a private investigator, using his martial arts skills and Hollywood connections to tackle espionage and intrigue. What set Jean-Claude Van Johnson apart was its irreverent humor and willingness to poke fun at the tropes and cliches that defined Van Damme's storied career. Embracing the absurdity of his own image, Van Damme delivered a self-aware performance that delighted audiences and critics alike. Following the release of the pilot episode, viewers were invited to vote on their favorite pilots, determining which shows would receive a full series order. The response to Jean-Claude Van Johnson was overwhelmingly positive, with audiences embracing the show's unique blend of action, comedy, and meta-humor. Buoyed by this support, Amazon Prime committed to a 6-episode first season of the series. In December of 2017, Jean-Claude Van Johnson made its official debut, marking a triumphant foray into the world of television for the iconic action star. With each episode, Van Damme showcased his comedic chops and willingness to subvert audience expectations, breathing new life into his career with a fresh and innovative project. The excitement surrounding Jean-Claude Van Damme's foray into television with Jean-Claude Van Johnson was unfortunately short-lived, as the show faced an abrupt end just weeks after its premiere. In a surprising turn of events, Amazon Prime decided to pull the plug on the series, marking a disappointing setback for Van Damme's much-anticipated comeback. The cancellation of Jean-Claude Van Johnson was part of a broader restructuring within Amazon's Prime Video lineup, which saw several other shows meeting the same fate. Alongside Van Damme's comedy series, acclaimed programs like I Love Dick and One Mississippi also fell victim to the streaming service's shifting priorities. The decision to axe Jean-Claude Van Johnson and other shows was part of Amazon's strategic pivot away from niche or prestige programming towards content with broader mainstream appeal. While the cancellation undoubtedly came as a blow to Van Damme and his fans, it was indicative of the competitive and ever-evolving landscape of streaming television. Despite the disappointment of Jean-Claude Van Johnson coming to an untimely end, Van Damme could take solace in the fact that his show was not alone in its fate. The cancellation was not a reflection of the quality of the series or Van Damme's performance, but rather a strategic decision driven by larger market forces and corporate priorities. For Van Damme, the experience of Jean-Claude Van Johnson represented both a creative triumph and a lesson in the unpredictable nature of the entertainment industry. While the show's cancellation marked a setback, it did not diminish Van Damme's enduring legacy as an action icon and versatile performer. Jean-Claude Van Damme's descent into a downward spiral of substance abuse and career missteps marked a dark chapter in his life and professional journey. Struggling with personal demons and addiction, Van Damme found himself ensnared in a destructive cycle fueled by cocaine, which he admitted to consuming at an alarming rate of 10 grams per day. An addiction that not only took a toll on his health but also exacted a significant financial cost amounting to around $10,000 a week. By the late 1990s, the repercussions of Van Damme's substance abuse became increasingly apparent. In 1999, he found himself fighting a DOI charge, a stark reminder of the consequences of his destructive habits. Despite attempts at seeking rehabilitation, including a brief stint in rehab that lasted only 7 days, Van Damme struggled to break free from the grip of addiction. In the years that followed, he experienced periods of relapse, perpetuating a cycle of self-destructive behavior. The impact of Van Damme's addiction was keenly felt in his professional life, with his career trajectory taking a sharp downturn. Amidst his personal struggles, Van Damme's filmography during this period was marred by lackluster projects and forgettable performances. Many of his films went straight to DVD, with little to no theatrical release, and failed to resonate with audiences. Between 1999 and 2008, Van Damme churned out a staggering 14 films, most of which languished in obscurity, overshadowed by his earlier successes. The quality of these projects varied widely, with critics and audiences alike dismissing them as uninspired and derivative. Van Damme's once lucrative career seemed to be in freefall, earning him the derisive moniker Jean-Claude Van Desperat. Jean-Claude Van Damme's struggle with substance abuse was intricately linked with his undiagnosed bipolar disorder, a condition that plagued him for years before receiving proper treatment. Individuals with undiagnosed bipolar disorder are particularly vulnerable to addiction, as they often seek solace or self-medicate to cope with the intense mood swings and emotional turmoil characteristic of the disorder. For Van Damme, grappling with the debilitating effects of bipolar disorder meant enduring years of inner turmoil and seeking refuge in destructive habits. Before his diagnosis, Van Damme found temporary respite from the chaos of his internal struggles through rigorous physical training. The discipline and structure provided by his training regimen offered a semblance of stability in an otherwise tumultuous existence. However, in moments of vulnerability and despair, Van Damme turned to drugs as a misguided attempt to alleviate his suffering, a decision that only served to exacerbate his downward spiral. It wasn't until 1998 that Van Damme received a definitive diagnosis of rapid cycling bipolar disorder, shedding light on the underlying cause of his emotional tumult and addictive tendencies. With the guidance of medical professionals, Van Damme embarked on a journey towards recovery, beginning treatment with sodium valproate, a mood-stabilizing medication aimed at managing the symptoms of bipolar disorder. In the wake of his diagnosis, Van Damme exhibited a newfound openness and candor about his struggles with mental illness. He spoke openly in interviews about his experiences, shedding light on the challenges faced by those grappling with bipolar disorder and addiction. His raw and honest portrayal of himself in JCVD offered a poignant glimpse into the inner turmoil of a man grappling with his own demons, garnering widespread acclaim for its authenticity and vulnerability. Van Damme's journey towards recovery was marked by moments of darkness and despair, including periods of suicidal ideation. Yet, through sheer determination and resilience, he found the strength to confront his inner demons and embark on the path to healing. Recognizing that true recovery necessitated addressing the root causes of his addiction, Van Damme underwent a profound transformation, confronting his insecurities and rebuilding his sense of self-worth from the ground up. His decision to confront his cocaine addiction head-on, quitting cold turkey, marked a pivotal turning point in his recovery journey. With newfound clarity and sobriety, Van Damme began to rebuild his life, reconciling with his third wife and embracing a positive approach to managing his bipolar disorder. Van Damme's tragedy did not stop there. In 1997, Frank Dux, the kickboxer whose life inspired Van Damme's breakout film Bloodsport, initiated a lawsuit against the action star. Dux claimed that Van Damme failed to compensate him for his contributions to the screenplay of The Quest, a 1996 movie in which Van Damme starred and directed. Initially seeking $50,000, Dux later escalated his claim to a staggering $1.5 million. During the legal proceedings, Dux seized the opportunity to undermine Van Damme's credibility as a fighter. He alleged that while coaching Van Damme for his role in Bloodsport, the star demonstrated incompetence in basic martial arts techniques, such as failing to execute a simple forward roll without injuring himself. Dux went further to challenge Van Damme's claims of a legitimate kickboxing career, asserting that the actor had misrepresented his martial arts achievements to the public. Despite Dux's damning allegations, the lawsuit ultimately faltered. In a verdict delivered the following year, a jury cleared Van Damme of any financial obligation, ruling in favor of the action star. For Dux, this legal defeat mirrored the setback faced by the iconic fictional boxer Rocky Balboa in his early career, a comparison that underscored Dux's determination to persevere despite the odds. While Dux expressed optimism about pursuing an appeal, likening his situation to Rocky's journey to redemption, it appears that such aspirations never materialized. The legal dispute, akin to Rocky's decision to retire and pursue a quieter life outside the ring, seemingly reached its conclusion without further action from Dux. What do you think about the bad things that happened to Jean-Claude Van Damme? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.